My name is Osei Kwame Ajiman. I'm an architect and an urbanist, an urban developer, and I teach or I facilitate urbanization, the challenges for African cities at a yearly program. Urbanization is a little bit complex, but urbanization really just means that people move away from an agrarian economy to a more complex economy. And this normally happens within a city. And so basically what we're looking at is what is the structure of African cities and how do they respond to the challenges of urbanization. Now, if you take Accra, there are immediate challenges that crop up. We have street hawking, we have issues with sanitation, we have issues with traffic management, we don't have a good public transport system, we don't have good settlements for people, we have an informal economy that more or less makes the city almost ungovernable. So really, but cities are the engine of growth for almost every nation. Without cities, there'll be no nations. And so we talk about Berlin, we talk about London, we talk about Johannesburg, we talk about Cairo, we talk about Sydney. We don't really mention the nations because it's what happens in the city that makes the nations. And it is how the cities function properly that makes sure the nations can grow wealth. So if you take Accra, for example, every time people are not able to access work or enterprise at the time they're expected to, is a loss to our country. So when you want to exercise a certain degree of efficiency in the system, then it means that you want to determine that how do people get to work as practical as they can. That has to do with a bit of transportation. So really, in the urbanization module, we go on a field trip so that they have a feel of what the city structure is. And we encourage them to look out for challenges. You know, do traffic lights work? Yesterday we were in Ashaiman, we were on a 3-lane road, but we could only use 1 lane because 1 lane had been used for parking and another lane had been used for street hawking and street trading. Obviously, this was not the objective of the construction of the road. So we encourage them to look at all these challenges so that when we come into the classroom, after the lecture presentation, they come and tell us what they have observed and what solutions they have to procure for us. Basically, that's the essence of it. So urbanization really is looking at cities and how cities respond to what we as a nation want. How efficient can we make cities so that they generate the wealth so that everybody, Accra, can aspire to be like London or New York or Sydney. So basically, that's what it's about.
So you are now faced with the responsibilities of learning from these experiences. Why are markets important to this discourse? In West Africa, markets are the one place that any stranger, anybody coming to a city can find a resource, can find somebody who comes from near their village, can find people who knows people who know people. So it's a natural place where people gravitate to. And it's a place where people make social connections. If you go to Makola and you want to buy beads, the engagement is not simply how much is that, it's 10 cedis, yes, 10, no. You bargain, you talk, you establish a relationship. It's a different kind of space and has been so for the last 100 years. It's a place where the women are in charge and they cut the coats according to their own needs. And I know very much as former mayor that without them, it's impossible to run this city. So you as future leaders will have to learn who are your partners in social transformation. Is it the people sitting in the ministries, in the air-conditioned offices, with their ties and their coats? Or is it these women who can hardly speak English, but who are very shrewd, And when they say they are international market, it literally means that they are connected all across the sub-region. They are really connected. If you want to test it, go to Badagry and find out what is the relative cost of the dollar to the naira. And then go to Monrovia and ask the same question. And you'll find that it's absolutely parity. Somehow, they manage a financial system which works across the region. They also help to resolve a lot of issues. Children get lost all the time. Children are trafficked from Accra to Burkina Faso. If you want to find these children, this is where you go. Politicians need them to stabilize the public mood. They have institutions within the markets to help people. So, it is not a simple place as you saw. It's a place of bewildering complexity. And if you are going to be leaders, you have to get your antennae out. Okay? All right. I think I've talked enough about Makola. We now go to get into the exercises. When is break? 10:30. Okay. What we want to do now is did you all do the assignment? You what? Can I get some answers? You did not? Did you? The assignment? You were tired. Wow. Future leaders of Africa, and you were too tired? Okay? All right. But you know who are members of your groups, right? Can you take a little time off to discuss this and then come up with something to present to us? Is it possible? All right. It's now.
Okay, thank you. So the question says we should come out with two problems. We have many. So can we just harmonize them into two problems?
Which one is the best?
Those who vote for the banking system, or as a problem.
I think you can even harmonize it. Yeah. The union stuff, you just said the association. The association then the association will just include that of shelter and uniform.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay, then we have the banking as another one. Then he incorporates all the points, right? Okay. I think that's it. Okay. Thank you. So now for the mall, identify two problems at the mall, and these problems should involve the people classified as vulnerable to the impacts of urbanization. Two problems at the mall impacting on vulnerable people. Yeah.
Yes. You have translated or translate.
Oh, they say all,
Yeah.
so we can choose.
So either we do one, or we just choose one.
Okay. So let's just go by the market.
Yes, it's easier.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Sylvia. Yeah. Okay, so since we already have the market, then we're good, right? Okay. So the next thing says, working in their river groups, participants are to analyze these problems within the context of urbanization and propose solutions that can be implemented in a 5-year period. So can you just read out the problem and then start proposing solutions that can be implemented?
For the market, the problem of shelter. for the traders. Having a union and a banking system.
Okay, let's take one. The problem of shelter and the union. Okay, please, solutions. Yeah.
For the problem of shelter,
Okay. So please, who is supposed to construct? Who is supposed to construct this for them?
the leadership of the Thai people can take that responsibility and do a kind of self-financing project.
Yes.
Okay.
Periodically, they can be contributing just almost every day, let's say 50% a day.
Yeah.
That for a year or two can be huge amount of money. That can be
50 what?
That's one.
for the
That's a good one.
Okay.
some kind of local assistance.
Okay.
So these dormitories, are they for them to sleep or just to stay?
Yeah, that was.
Because when we talked about shelter, it's not actually not only where they sleep. For example, when she mentioned that is maybe when it's raining, they don't have places while waiting for the bus. So maybe the solution should be something that can cover them like a tent along the market, strategic places in the market where they can stay and their customers can easily access.
Okay, Abena.
Abena, talk now.
Hey, you must talk. Oh. Abena, talk. Oh. Any other suggestion? So do we have that point clear?
Yeah, view tents are strategic places.
Any other suggestion?
See, it is not about them not having a place to sleep or save their money. Some of them, their culture, where they are coming from, they don't believe in all these things. Even if you get them a place to lay their head, they won't go.
I don't believe in sleeping in a room.
Not sleeping in a room.
Please let us just finish
Not
what you
sleeping in a room.
said.
My mom works with them, and when we want to take them home, they don't want to go. To our house, of course. No. So I think sometimes they need some sort of education. With a saving like this, some of them they won't do it. So they need education.
The point is making is to have a place of DS, not to accompany people to their respective homes. So if you have a place, this is your place of abode. Live there, manage it for yourself. It is yours.
Do you know there are places like that at Agogloshi and Kandamanto?
What?
There are places like that at Agogloshi and Kandamanto.
Okay.
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Have you find out?
Thank
Find
you.
out.
Please excuse me. Please.
Yes.
Hang on, please. I think the 2 points can still be harmonized because they are saying the same thing in different words. He said that they can build some dormitories for them, and she's talking about education. So we can start by educating them on the need of managing their own dormitories. So I think it's a harmonizing issue. Let's not quarrel about it.
So please, we are just presenting 2 points, right? That's what 2 points for the market. So I think we are fine. We are good to go.
Yeah. So wait, we are not done with so the distribution of cars. What's the time span or the time frame?
Don't mind about us.
This
everything should have that.
It's a continuous process.
Who's going to provide the money?
It's going to be us.
Who's going to provide the money?
From them.
We raise funds. No, we raise funds. We raise funds.
How do we respond?
I'm not fighting.
How do we raise the fund?
Our own pocket. From our own
Raising fund
pocket.
is big. How are we going to raise funds? Are we going to do clean up? Collaborating with NGOs. Collaborating with NGOs and other.
Collaboration with NGOs.
I think it's fine. We can present.
And then even the people can contribute, maybe 5 cities per shop or 5 cities per person. That's a lot of money.
Okay, let's write dues for something.
Dues. And fundraising or dues.
That was one initiative that the Guardian did. Like some of the higher is going back to the northern region. So all they do is the training of the people. Because I'm talking about they're taking
complete alternative. What the person did was that he trained them with beads making goods. Went back to the northern region, all they did was to make the things and then they'll be transported to Accra. So we can't hear. So they went back to where they were staying.
And so we've been training.
So I think she's rewriting it.
So the same way, is it okay?
No, I think we have a place for slang and then solutions and then another year for market.
Can we choose 2 problems for the market? They said 2 problems for each, and we have 4 for the market.
So I think we can imagine
some of them. Yes, we can make this one. We can make this one. 1 point.
And I think the food sold in open places, we couldn't get a good remedy.
Yeah, so we wipe it out. You have a good remedy. You're looking for funds. You're looking for funds for other projects. Why can't you look for funds for this one? Because when the food is exposed, flies get on it. You get cholera and all the other stuff. So that one is staying.
So we can propose that we cover the drains. Because when you cover drains too, it helps.
And sanitization.
Yes, and then the people also cooking the food can put it in a sieve instead of it on open table. Yeah. Those things are it's less expensive, it's cheaper.
So So do you think we should eliminate
I say that they should cook. They should instead of selling the food on the table, it should be in seeds. So that one we can do education.
Another thing is you can engage. He said you can engage one carpenter who will do it, and then you pay outside.
Okay.
I'm sure it's not expensive.
We also have community sensitization. Establish a proper risk.
The benefits.
No. 2 problems. No, the goal should be 2 problems. Only 2 solutions is that they don't face. And a timeline for the solution. So let's establish a proper recycle system.
So we need 2 representatives to go and explain this for us. Volunteers.
People who have not second.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Lions are ready to do the presentation. We are looking at, first of all, they've got to analyze what they saw, tell us what they think the problems are, tell them what they think the probable solutions are, what they think, tell us how they intend to implement it. All right? This is peer review. In other words, you are going to be judged by your fellow future leaders. It's a peer review system. You are at liberty to defend yourself as well as you can. And let's see how your peers review your work. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I am Augustine Kuruma, and my friend here is...
my name is Nana Augustin.
Okay, so we are presenting on behalf of the Lions Group. We are both Augustines. So he's presenting the first aspect, which has to do with the ratings.
Okay, good morning to everyone. Okay, on a rating scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how would you rate the following in the market? Number 1, how clean is the site? We decide to score it 6 because we thought that the market is on the average scale clean, and we decide to put 6 in this level. And for the mall, we decide to put 9. Number 2, how accessible are the shop? For us, the shop are on the average 7. The shop are the 7 score, and the mall 9. Number 3, how easy is it to find merchandise in the shop? We decide to put 6, and on the mall we decide to put 8. Number 4, how friendly and helpful was the staff? We decide to put 8 for the market and 5 for the mall. Number 5, on the average, how old did the staff appear? We decide to. It seemed that the staff appear to be young, very young. Yeah, and for the market and for the mall, the middle categories. Number 6, what is the predominant gender of the staff? The market is female, and the okay, the market both market and male are female. In the 7th position, what percentage of the merchandise is foreign and imported? We put it 7% and 90%. Number 8, are there facilities for eating on the site? Yes. We scored it 6 and 9 respectively for the market and the mall. And number 9, are there facilities for family entertainment available on the site? Respectively, we part family entertainment 2 for the market and 8 for the mall. And can the activities on the site be improved, and what would you do to improve it? Respectively, for the market and the mall, we part yes and yes by build storage facilities, and create more exit point for the friendship traffic for the mall.
Okay, the other aspect of the presentation has to do with the other aspect has to do with identifying 2 problems associated with the market setting. The first one, we noticed that the market aid that you people call the kai cannot be easily identified. And so as a way of recommending solutions, we said they could form a union. And if they have a union, there is a possibility for them to have uniforms, identification cards. And also, in all of these processes, if we are trying to, let's say, have a project for them, trying to house them in a single place, we also suggested that we should include them in every aspect of the process, because if you don't include them, you may end up having a facility that they might not be interested in. And the second problem we identified is the need for the market to have a banking system. And as a way of providing solutions, we said that there is need for us to educate them, to sensitize them about the need and the importance for them to have a banking system for the purpose of security. And also in that aspect, we said that we must also include them in every aspect of preparing and also executing that kind of project for them. I think this is all we have for you, so we wait for some questions and comments.
Please, I would like to know what are the exact steps you take to put this into action, and what is your time bound? What is your time schedule? Thank you.
Are you talking about the problems we identified?
The solution. The solution.
Oh, I think we just stated that. For example, if we want to be able to identify the market very easily, one, you could form them into a union. That wouldn't take a long time. And then when they are unionized, then you'll be able to provide identification for them, let's say ID cards, and then uniforms, and then you have a specific location for them where you can always, access them whenever you want. And then in the union, you will also be able to have their, let's say, contact details, wherein you can always call them, whenever you need their services. And I suppose that shouldn't take too long, You can form a union within a month or so.
With regards to the kaya you spoke about, I realize you want to identify them and give them uniforms. Don't you think it's rather unhealthy for them to be carrying goods on their heads, but rather propose a means of carrying the goods to them rather than just giving them uniforms? It's a suggestion.
Oh, that's a suggestion. Okay. It's noted. Someone has a question. Yes. The gentleman there.
Okay. Per your observations, you said you saw that the age of the staff, the average age was very young. But per my understanding, they started with very young.
He didn't say very young. He said young.
I had very.
They are not children.
So you young. Me, I had very young. That's why I wanted you to.
They are not children. We didn't see children selling.
Okay. Please, may you explain clearly or practically the banking system? Thank you.
What?
So you talked about the
banking system.
The
yeah.
banking system. Practically.
Okay, just before he comes, nowadays the banks are coming close to the customers, the middle level and the low class people. That's why now you have this thing here called the mobile money transaction. You can save a lot of money in your phones nowadays, And then also in our traditional settings, our people have what I think here in Ghana is also called a susu arrangement, wherein it's something like a thrift and credit. And the proceeds from that, that arrangement can also be saved in a banking system. And I don't know if Kofi has something to add to that.
The same thing. Now you have this opening accounts with your mobile money accounts where you can deposit money through mobile money and withdraw through mobile money. They have challenges going to banks to open accounts, going to queue to withdraw their own money. But if they can open an account without going to the bank through their mobile money and withdraw and deposit, it becomes easy for them. So that way, they can be accounted for. They also contribute to the economy and save their money for whatever they want to do. So,
and it's so flexible to have mobile money. You don't need identification. You don't need all of those bureaucratic things that you have to encounter in the bank.
Okay, so my question is that it's very difficult getting the trust of the headquarters if you even want to do something for them. What plans have you put in place in order to bring them on board?
Well, that's why in the first place you are going to sensitize them and include them in every aspect of the project. When they feel included, when they have participated so much in it, then they will own the project themselves. I think that should be able to take care of it.
And just to add to that, please, we also said, like, what he was talking about, the creation of dormitories for them that they can use. We said, since they have a phobia of using things that people create, we wanted to include them in the process of like taking them for laborers during the sand mixing and the rest, so that they'll have trust.
These people are not that unsophisticated. Huh? They are now entering into the world of IT, and they use their mobile phones a lot. They have networks with their customers, people who come to Makola to shop, and they tell them what they want, and they go around and they gather it then people come and collect. So their world is getting more and more sophisticated. So the proposals you are making are possible. Are possible, okay? And so it's well you thought about it. I'm not quite sure that putting them in uniforms is going to be such a big something that you really want to do. But then this is your suggestion, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Lions. Congratulations, Lions, for your efforts. Okay. All right, so who is next? Eagle? Okay, so Eagle.
Okay, good morning. This is the Almighty Eagles group. And then, yes, and we happen to be the second presenters, but we'll end up coming out the first. So we were approaching a problem. We went for a trip yesterday. We were supposed to identify 2 problems and then come out with solutions, very practical solutions. And then based on that, we group them in 2s. We have one as the slums and the second as the market. So I'm going to take that of the slums and he will take that of the market. Okay, so based on the observations we made yesterday, we came out with 2 concrete problems with the slums. And one was sanitation, and the second was improper layout of structures. With the sanitation, we realized that there were really poor drainage, especially in Ashaman. Some of the gutters were choked. In fact, some residents were on the drainage facilities, and which could pose a lot of problems to us. The second was waste management system. There was really poor waste management systems. People were dumping all over. Some people were dumping right by their kiosks and others, and it's very, very dangerous. The third observations we made was that there were very limited KVIPs, which could also harm the environment. And then the fourth, we realized that most people were selling food by the gutters, which is also very, very harmful. Cholera outbreaks and others. Okay, so we made a second observation. We realized that there were improper layout of structures. The structures were put up anyhow. They were not in line. Some were built on gutters, some were built at places that they were not supposed to be. And we realized that putting up such structures can cause a lot of havoc, like flooding and others. We realized that about a year ago, what happened at Circle was a result of this point. Okay, so we came out with solutions for that. And one, we are saying that to be able to curb the problem of these 2, one thing that we have to do is to engage stakeholders. We realized that in our earlier presentation, Daddy made mention of the fact that the school that was built in Mokola was not patronized because they refused to engage the stakeholders. Okay, so we are saying that we are going to engage the stakeholders, that is the people and then the policy makers, that this is what we are supposed to do. And then we gave a timeline by 6 to 9 months. The second solution we gave was that we are going to distribute trash cans. I know some of you will ask, how are we going to do it? We are going to raise funds, and through that, we'll be able to achieve this aim. Third, we talked about cleanup campaign quarterly. We know it's already being practiced, I think the first Saturday of the month. But we are going to enforce it. We are going to speak to the people. We are going to say that, oh, indeed, if we should do this thing, it's really going to help us in the near future. And then the fourth, we spoke about constant sensitization, education. Just as we went yesterday, I know yesterday most of us concentrated on taking pictures, but I think the next time we go, we are going to educate the people. This is what we are supposed to do. This is how we are going to do it. And this is the results that we can get out of it. Fourthly, we spoke about training of people in the rural areas. One main cause of slum development is the migrants coming from the rural areas. But if they are satisfied in their local communities, I think there will be no need of them having that ease of coming to the urban area. So how are we going to do that? We are going to engage them in bead making in the rural centers. We are going to engage them in material making in the rural areas. And through that, they might not feel comfortable. They might be conversant with their places and they wouldn't want to come to the urban areas. Finally, we spoke about constant sensitization and then also campaigns as well. So I've already spoken about that. And I think if we should practice all these things, this problem that we discovered yesterday can be kept. So I move on to my next presenter.
Thank you for that beautiful presentation. Okay, before I start, I would like to make this observation. Obviously, yesterday, the market was beautiful. Absolutely. It was amazing feeling to be there, and we appreciate. But notwithstanding is with problem. And the problems that we have observed is, one, food sold in open. Like, how can you sell foods in open? It doesn't make sense. We need to make, or we need to practice the highest level of what? Hygiene, right? We need to keep ourselves fit to become a better leader tomorrow, all right? Secondly, we talked about, we talked about old buildings that needs what? Good wearing, right? Old buildings and the maintenance for poor system of the buildings. Like the buildings were very old, and then some of the wearing system was not good. Like, let me give you an example back home before I came to Ghana. We had a fire outbreak in our market, and then so many people lost their business. Almost 2 Senegalese had to shut down their business, go back home, because everything they had, ranging from sewing machine, was lost to this fire. Because of what? This poor wearing. You could easily see the wears. They were visible. And then it is not good. We should do better. We can do better, right? We are Africa. We can do better. So coming to the second, the solutions. First, we mentioned about fundraising. Yep. We know fundraising in Africa is not easy. But we can take the step. The issue is not getting it, but trying it. You should be seen trying it. We can engage the right partners at the right time. We can engage NGOs, those people who are having the financial capabilities to able to help in order to raise funds and then also help in solving this problem. Secondly, education is absolutely important, no doubt. That's why we're here. We're all educated. Education is what? Power. Education is what? Education is what?
Power.
And it is the knowledge. Listen, in this world that we are in, if you are not sensitized, if you are not aware of what is going on, if you are not aware how to protect yourself, how to better your life, you are absolutely little bit or no different with an animal in the jungle. So I believe that we are all educated. It doesn't mean you have to go to the formal or what? Informally you can be educated. It's the knowledge that you get and you apply. Thank you. Okay, going to the third one, obviously, NGOs, we cannot do. Last time we talked about, we learned from the health sector that the 3 components, and the NGOs are part of the sectors, the stakeholders. Absolutely, we cannot do without them. So we need to engage them in the development to realize that we have a better continent, a continent that stands out one as a rich continent. To the fourth one, we need proposal to companies for their social corporate duties. Each company, it is not maybe compulsory by the law, but it should be observed. Like each company, you know, you get in thousands, billions of dollars. It is easy for you to just give some few dollars or some few thousands to help your community, the community that you think or you believe that you are serving, the community that is providing you the market base, is buying goods and services to you. If they are healthy, they will buy from you. But if they are not healthy, how can they work and then buy from you for your company to grow? But it's very important that you develop the community that you are in, and then we will talk to the companies to make them understand that for your business to grow, you need a strong, healthy, and productive what? Community. So you have to also give back to the community, not the community always giving. You need to give back. Okay, moving on to the final one, covering of the drainage system. We need to cover. It's not only enough to formulate or establish the drainage system. Like in my country, we have passed that stage. But before that stage, the drainage system were open. And then it could be easily filled with sand. They will withdraw everything or remove the sand. The next 2 months is filled with sand. And that is cost. It doesn't make sense. We can do better. You can easily bring out the sand and then you cover it up so that for it to, before it gets full, it will get time. So that is our presentation. And then the last one word we want to leave is health. we should be all mindful of our health condition, because health is godliness. Health is what? Wealth. Thank you for this wonderful presentation.
Take your time. You didn't even clap for us.
So thank you. I would like to commend your presentation, but I'm wondering, the second part of the question said, we have to choose options between the slums, market, or mall. But then you're answering slums and market, and I get very confused. And then secondly, during your presentation, you said if we sell food in the open at the market, it makes no sense. I bet you if you go to the market and say that kind of thing to the people selling there, it will beat you up. And lastly, who is daddy in your presentation? Because you said, like daddy mentioned. I don't know. Who is daddy?
Young lady, don't be naughty.
Good work on your presentation, but I noticed that on the solutions you gave for the market, most of it is all about sensitization. You put a lot of bullets, but all was about sensitization, in the sense that if you talk to NGOs for them to collaborate and talk to big companies for them to get involved and they don't, it means that all your solutions cannot help the problems above. That is what I noticed. That is what I'm saying. All of those things fall under sensitization. If you speak, hold on. If you speak to the NGOs and the companies and they don't accept what you're saying, how then do you help the market?
Okay, the point is well made. I think that's a very good point, because I was also listening to you and I did not get the sense that you are dealing with the human beings on the ground. You are bringing help to them, all right. Yep. But all your effort seems to be directed at people who can help rather than changing them on the ground in order to help themselves. All right? This is just a view. Yes, madam. Listen, you are all involved in this, and so everybody gets ready. Yes.
Okay, this is Benga from Nigeria. Please, can you bring the first...
Can you raise it to your mouth?
Okay, there you wrote KVIP. You wrote KVIP there, and many of us don't understand what it means. So sometimes when you are making presentations, try to give the full meanings of...
It's a toilet. It's a public toilet.
Aha. So then secondly, on the issue of the NGO, before now, when you go to NGOs with anything, like I want to do this, you have a project, usually they support because there were few people then who needed help. But now, every corners, people are going to NGOs every day for this or that. So they spread their funds thin. So what I would suggest or advise is that there's a new term called NGO 2.0, which means that you don't just go to them when you have issues, but you must come up with a way what they will get from it. As in, when you go to them, you don't just call them to come and solve problems, but you also look at how whatever you are doing aligns with their own goals too. They also have goals. They don't just come and solve every problem.
If you listen to them properly, they said that they will tell these NGOs that if you get a healthy population, the population will answer you back by investing in your company. So they basically are also telling what the NGOs get in return.
Can I ask, are we going to answer the question, or is it going to be only question open?
We want
no, it's because she made a question.
Listen, you gave a lecture. We want this thing to move quickly because we have one more group to go, okay?
Okay, thank you. So you raised a beautiful question, problem about people selling food in the open. So I'll be glad to know how you want to solve that problem.
Thank you. Shall you answer that quickly, then we move on?
The answer is there. First, the answer is when you're trying to sell food, let's say a food like banana, there should be plastic bag, maybe a transparent plastic bag covering up. And then certain food like soup, etc., you should have what we call Steve, right? Steve. Sorry for my pronunciation, but it's Steve, right? Keeping it in the good condition so that it will be healthy for you to eat. Thank you.
All right, shall we go over to that group? Get the questions from them.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. I would like you make mention of something on improper layout of structures. which causes flooding and communicable diseases. Please, I want more clarification on that. How do you intend to tackle that? Because I didn't really get solution.
Thank you.
That.
Shall we move? Can you answer that quickly?
Okay. So we are saying that we already know that the government and the policymakers, they are making efforts to curb that problem. But as leaders, we are going to engage with the stakeholders. This is what we are supposed to do. Before somebody begins to build, make sure you grant the person permit, and then you should also move ahead in monitoring, constant monitoring. Through that, it can help curb that challenge.
Okay, I think you got it there. But here's one more. You are dealing with the government, not with the people.
One more. I'm Ibrahim.
That solution is based upon your interaction with government agency about the permits. And we want to know what you do for the people who are there on the ground. All right, shall we go on?
Yes, I'm Ibrahim, one member of the Eagle Group. Actually, we were expecting this question about the poor wire line, which is causing a lot of market fire. Yeah, we were expecting that is this electricity, is it affordable? Reason why, because if you are going to the poor wire line, that means maybe the electricity is not too affordable. And we propose the solar energy, which is very affordable. We are expecting them to ask us this question to give them the answer, but they not answer.
So now you have,
to them.
You have the floor. So why don't you say it?
And on the building of the structures that you asked, we are going to engage with the community. Most of these community have leaders. So we are going to engage them in that if somebody wants to build in that community, there should be a layout plan. That if somebody builds here, the other person cannot just build just beside it. So that at least the structures in there will be in a uniform manner. And so we are not just going to look at the government, but we're also going to look at the leaders in the community. On the food vendor, what we've noticed is that a lot of food sellers sell on the tabletop, just close to the gutters. And so what we are proposing is that we get a carpenter in place who can design a sieve, it's like in like this way. So that there will be a sieve and then there will be a door. So that when they open it, they can have it like that.
We are almost at 11 o'clock. I want the other side to get a chance to make their presentation. All right, so thank you very much for your presentation.
Eagles!
What is that? The elephant now? Can you please mount your presentation? Do you have a microphone?
Yeah, thank you very much. We are the mighty elephants. What we did was that before the problems, we wanted to know how did the problems come about. So we want to give you a brief history about the slums and then the markets. Makola Market was started in 1924. And then about 55 years after its operation, the then PNDC government realized that there were some goods that were banned from being marketed in the country, but though they were banned, they were being sold over there. So it was destroyed in 1979 because it was destroyed, and it was being dominated by women from 1924 to that time. And we all know that women are, let me say, the foundation of the family because they are manageable. So the government realized that because the market was destroyed, the livelihood of the people was at stake. So in 1986, led by the then Minister of Trade, Honorable E.T. Mensah, they constructed a temporary place, which is where we went yesterday. And then the reason why they were relocated to that place was they wanted to develop the permanent place, which is the Rollins Park. But they realized that even though it was a temporary place, the market was expanding. People were coming in with their goods to sell to also make a living. And when we take the slum, for instance, the slum, you realize that when we went there, it is dominated by non-indigents. And it came as a result of people coming out from the rural areas to make a living in the urban areas. And also, some also came as a result of wars in their communities. So these are and the communities did not plan for some of these people. The community did not know that there will be people coming down from the rural areas to their place. And so far as they are at the urban areas, they have to get place to put their head. So they try to create a structure that can contain them. And it's like, it created a cluster. So that is as a result of why we have some of the problems in the slums and also at the Makola market. Per our ratings, how clean is the site? We rated it 3. When we went to the Makola market, we rated it 3. How accessible are the shops? Realize that it was not well accessible because the goods were scattered. You don't know that maybe this is where the fabrics are. This is where if I want to buy a jeans, this is where I should go. And also, how easy is the merchandise in the shops? We rated it 5. And then the last one, how friendly and helpful was the staff? We gave it 6 because they were very friendly and welcoming. Thank you. I'll give it to my colleagues to continue from there.
Okay. At the slum, we realized that there was a problem with sanitation. They had a very poor drainage system, which we all know that there will be a breeding place for mosquitoes, which is the principal cause for malaria, cholera, and other communicable diseases. So our solution, first and foremost, we will have a regular communal labor. Like we organize a cleaning service where every member of the community will participate. We'll also do community sensitization. Sensitize the population about the effects the sanitation will have on their health and why they should practice where they should practice healthy habits, and also establish a proper recycling system. There is a system where they will use like the garbage and use it to make other things. And for the markets, because we realized that both the markets and the slum had a problem in common, which was the sanitation. So for the markets, for the sake of time, we'll just departmentalize the market into sectors. For here they will sell fruits and vegetables, over there they will sell clothes. So when a particular place is dirty, we know who to hold responsible. So on the one end, the place that is dirty will pay a fine, and for the people that practice cleanliness, we'll give them a reward. My friend will talk about the wiring system.
Okay, I will talk about the wiring system. It said that in Makola there are currently a problem of fire. So it's because of the exposition of cables made in bad qualities. To avoid this problem, we think about an alarm system. It can be a small device which can trigger when there is fire and alarm the people to extinguish the fire. So we talk about the training of youth to be professional technicians. And also, the fire service should educate the people about fire problems and use also alternative technology to avoid this problem, because this solution are to avoid the loss of the activities of the sellers, the articles of the sellers, and also not to lose their investments. Thank you.
And all the solution, we made a frame line of 5 years. For the first 2 years, the first phase is we try to organize the people, try to really get them involved, and we tell them our proposal. So the second phase, we implement the proposal, and we try to monitor its evolution.
Are you through? All right, any questions?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that maybe you went to a particular part of Makola. That's why you are suggesting that they have departments. Because from what I know of Makola, they have departments. They have where they sell cloth. They have where people sew. They have where they sell shoes. They have where they sell foodstuffs. So that is maybe because we went to.
That's not okay. Can I answer?
But
that's
they
not the
mentioned
main.
that. They mentioned that. However, and when those you see selling by the roadside, where it looks as if everybody is selling anything, is because those people don't have permit into the market, into shops in the market. So regularly they sell on the pavement. That's how come there are a lot of traffics there. So I would suggest that you make solutions for those people so that they also have places. Instead of selling by the roadside, they can also get into the market.
Okay, thank you.
Please kindly listen to me. You talked about the issue of sanitation. And I think I have a contrary opinion. Because while I was there yesterday, I have a picture of a woman. If you notice, while we are going in, they were sweeping and packing it into a ledger. You understand? So, and then the issue of, you talked about drainages. I also saw places where the water was disposed, and I also took a snap, I snapped it, which I believe is fair enough. So, are you sure that sanitation is actually a problem with Makola markets?
Yeah.
All right, shall we move on, please? Young man, come over to this row.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. Oh, please listen to me, I beg. Yeah, the first presenter gave us a very resourceful information, but we'd like to get the source so that we can also share it with other people. Thank you.
It's a comment, yes. What I noticed too is the same thing I told those from the Eagles. I remember when Daddy was talking to us yesterday, he mentioned that we should understand that we are not the government. We are youths. We are involving other people to make a change. You come here talking about an alarm system and you're talking about technology. Those are not very practical solutions because they can accept it, and the moment you go, they forget about those things.
Okay, let me
sustainable.
answer. Wait, I'll answer.
Hey, easy. All right.
Yes, I'm answering for our group. It's my group that is presenting. I'm over here.
All right.
Okay. So when we talked about technology and smoke, we are not involving the government. These are things we're saying they'll be community-led, and with us and any other organization we're partnering with. So, for example, with the technology, we're never talking high-end technology. For the recycling, we said plastic bottles that can be made into what we call vertical hanging gardens. You simply get a lot of bottles, put earth in them, plant. It's a cheap technology that's even being used in Ghana right here. So those were the things. So how I say it's community-led, and they are low cost. This already plastic bottles all over the road. All we have to do is go get earth, go get the seeds, and go get twine and make the garden. So it's low-cost technology that's going to be led by them. We're not going to say, oh, we're coming to give you. They'll bring in whatever they have and we'll also contribute. So that kind of
young lady, if you don't mind, just keep it down, okay? I'm going to stand here to make sure you guys don't disturb us. Okay? Please answer. What? If a question, raise your hand, we'll call you. Hey, young man, you guys are unruly. Give it to her.
Thank you very much. Now, this is just a question. It's not to disturb you. So, I really like the intervention that you've mentioned. But then you need to know that poverty is relative. You are assuming that these people can afford the low cost. Not everybody can afford this low cost you're talking about. So, maybe you want to tell us an external source of funding, and then the people are participating, maybe with their human labor and their technique and their know-how, but not with money, because don't assume everybody can afford, please.
All right, shall we move on? Give it to that guy, then go over to that side.
Yeah, hello. Good. I'm on the floor again. I want to ask something. One of the major challenges of market fire is accessibility of fire attendants to quench the fire. The structures are arranged in a way that the fire officers find it very difficult to even get to the place where the fire is. But in your presentation, there's no structure arrangement. So I want to know how, if there should be an alarm system, so in case there's fire and it blows, how do they get access to the place?
Daniel, if
you know
we are-
something? That question is too technical. I mean, an alarm system, accessible, rest of all that. That's the point that you are making, is that the system that they propose should be accessible. And that's for them to accept and put in their proposal, okay? But not to identify it today. All right. Any more support from that side? Yeah, okay, here. The source of the information. They ask for the source of the
Yeah,
information.
please, if you go online and you type, you see it in Wikipedia. You can get the information. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Information I give out.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of this this presentation on the markets and the slum. Well, Farouk just called me and he said he would come here this afternoon. So I think if it's ready, if the break is ready, we can go and we do that. And then when we come back, Usaya Jiman can take over, okay? All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I enjoyed your company. And have a nice trip here.